Hey you guys, I am sitting with my good friend Stephen Summit, who many of you have met.
So, as a high school social studies teacher for over a decade at Grandview High School, teaching psychology, sociology, government, love students. Always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I had a high school social studies teacher that just lit a fire in me, a passion in me, and I was like, man, if he can make me feel this way, and I just love being in his class, like I want to do that for other students. And so that's...
What was it that made Jesus make sense to you when you became a believer?
So I grew up in church, and so my parents are pastors. So some people, they're driving to Mexico, and there's a clear border, and like I know that I'm in a new country now, right? They had, in Faith Talk, like they had a profession of faith. They had a moment where Jesus radically changed their life.
Yeah.
Other people is like flying to Mexico. Like I'm up in the air, and I think I'm over Mexico now. I'm different now. I'm definitely in a new country.
Yeah.
But like for me, growing up in church, that's kind of how it was for me. There wasn't really a day or a moment necessarily, but I would say Christ became more real to me later in my adult years, and that was because I had some students that were asking me some really hard questions about the Bible and about faith and about some of the things we're going to talk about. And I didn't have any good answers for him, and so I reached out to a buddy of mine who was a youth pastor, bivocational. He taught English as well, and but that's really when I would say Jesus became real for me, and that I made him my own. But I always knew that he existed, and I always believed, and I always said I was a Christian. But
yeah,
so it's kind of hard to define that moment, but it was certainly in my adult years.
You were a teacher in Grandview. What made you skip over to First Priority? Tell us a little bit about what you do with First Priority.
So the why is because God told me to. I feel like it was an undeniable just realignment. Again, my parents are pastors, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work for a church. I don't want to work in ministry because it's hard. Like I said, hey, this would be great for you. Like you obviously love students. You're in education, have been in education. This is ministry, but it's not assigned to any one particular church or denomination. And so I think this would be a good win for you, and so began to pray about it. My wife and I, oddly enough, we were praying individually about the same things, come to find out,
Nice.
And so it was just one of those things where God was just like, okay, this is where I have you, because like I'm not super bright, and so he was just like bringing me through the process. So May of 2022, it became abundantly clear that this was where I was going to be, and so resigned from teaching that May and came on June last summer.
Right. So you moved from educating students in the classroom to helping students to, in the context of their schools, to reach out to friends. Kind of how does that work?
Our mission is to take the hope of Christ to every student, and we do that through our student-led clubs on public schools, middle schools, and high schools. And so for us, we have a strategy that we call EPIC, and it stands for Equip, Prepare, Invite, and Connect. And that's the strategy that's simple enough to remember, and it's effective. And so what they're doing is they're being equipped with the gospel. What is it? How do I share it? They're learning how to tell their stories, their faith stories, their testimonies. They're inviting students to come to club who are unchurched or dechurched or whatever. They're lost students that maybe don't know the gospel, never heard of it, and they're sharing the gospel with them. Students are, not a visiting youth pastor or a teacher or a coach or anybody like that, but their student leaders are sharing the gospel. And then our C of the EPIC is connected, so we want to plug those students back into a local church to get them long-term discipled, because First Priority, what we would say is that we're not a Bible study club per se. We're more of an evangelistic training club per se.